Okay, so I'm making potato gnocchi, and I'm doing that as part of the beef ragu that I made earlier. So this is, all the stuff has been done to prepare for this. So I've done some potatoes and I've cooled them and I've just mashed them up kind of roughly. I haven't added anything to them. I've just mixed them up and I've used my Magimix Cook Expert to kind of mash the potatoes up to a degree. So now the potatoes are about 700 grams of potato, and they're just the rustic white type. So I don't have any particular type of potato that I'm using. And I'm just going to come over to Maggi and I'm going to start the recipe. So what I do first is I crack an egg into Magimix over the potatoes that have been roughly mashed. And so the egg is going to help to bind it because this is a gluten-free gnocchi. So a lot of other gnocchis don't need egg, but because I'm cooking gluten-free, it's always a good idea. So I've got a pinch of salt over the potatoes and I'm adding in my gluten-free flour. So this is the Woolworths brand, and I've changed my gluten-free flour blends over the years, but this one is actually really good. So I'm going to be adding in about probably 300 grams of that. These are about 750, so I probably need about that much. So I'm really good at measuring by eye. If you're not good at measuring by eye, I'd suggest weighing them on the scales. Now we are going to be blending that with a bit more flour when we do the rolling of the gnocchi. So it does kind of come together a little bit later. Now I'm adding in some white semolina. This isn't white semolina because I am gluten-free, but this is a corn flour. So this is a polenta type white cornmeal. So it's rougher than your fine cornmeal. So it is really, really textured. So when you touch it, it feels like really fine sand. So that's going to go in, and I'm using about 3 tablespoons of that. And that's just going to help to bring the texture of the gnocchi all together. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get rid of that one. And I'm going to come in with my Magimix and just blend all that together. And that's going to give me my first gnocchi mix. So we're going to get potatoes, our flour, everything all together. And I'm going to blend that on Expert. And I'm going to do just a medium speed, so about speed 9. And that's going to start blending the ingredients all together. And we're going to get a nice kind of dough formation. But with the dough formation, it's going to come together more when I pop it on the bench. And you'll see me rolling it. We'll get our hands nice and messy. You can see all that kind of forming a dough now. And it comes together so beautifully in this Cook Expert. It's such a great machine. And the potatoes give it that really beautiful starch. So while that's blending, it's going to take another 30 seconds or so. I'm going to turn on my pot to boil the water. Okay, now that's come together really beautifully. So yes, the pot's boiling over there. So I've got my sage and my butter ready to go. Because what I'm going to be doing when I roll my gnocchi is I'm going to be boiling it. Then I'm going to be, this is what my dough looks like. It's very springy. You can see how springy that is. Very sticky at the moment. So we're going to pull that out. But you know you have a really good gnocchi when you get that springy dough that's formed together. It feels very wet at the moment. But when it comes together on the flour, you're going to see it all stick together. You can see that on my hands. But I don't mind getting my hands a bit messy for gnocchi. I always enjoy the process. So I'm going to come over to my breadboard. And I'm putting that onto my breadboard. And I've got some flour already sitting on the breadboard. So I'm just going to grab the rest out of there. And we're going to be getting a whole lot of gnocchi rolled up. And that's going to be enough for us to make our beautiful combination. Sorry, I've got stuff everywhere. I have a very tiny kitchen. All right, so we're just grabbing the rest of that out of our Magimix now. And it feels so good. I'm really happy with the texture of that. So gnocchi is such a simple, old school Italian dish. And to make it gluten-free, the only difference is that we add egg to the mix. And we add a gluten-free flour. The rest of it is pretty much the same process. Potatoes are the base of a gnocchi. All right, so now what I'm doing, I'm going to get rid of that. is I'm going to blend the flour into my gnocchi dough. And you're going to see that all come together. Now I'm pairing this with my beautiful beef ragu that I made earlier today. If you follow my page, you'll be able to see that recipe. Sorry? I can't. Oh, hang on. I've got dirty hands, so I can't really do that at the moment. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I've got gnocchi hands, so I don't really want to touch anything at this stage. That's all right. I'll show you when I'm clean my hands off. Which will be hard because that kitchen is filthy. All right. So we have one area here, and I'm breaking it up into components where I'm going to blend them even further as I go. This dinner is quite a lot of work for the family, and they smash it in like 2 minutes. It'll all be gone. But it is something that they all love to eat. It's very, very good. Lots of flavour, lots of time, but lots of energy, lots of nutrition in these dishes. Okay. So I have 5 sections that I'm doing to roll my gnocchi sausages out, and I've just pulled them roughly into clumps. You can only do so much with a small space. Like if you had a really nice big bench top, like some people do, you'd be able to make really, really good amounts of gnocchi, but I'm just doing small amounts. You work with what you got, right? Anyone can do it, no matter how small your space is or how big your space is. All right, so I'm rolling the sausages out. So all I'm doing is working with what I've got. So I'm just working with this area. It is so limited. What's wrong? Sorry, what'd you say, hon? Oh, sorry, I had my husband whispering. Okay, yep. So he said to talk about the food. So, all right, so rolling this into a sausage, and we are very long. So I'm going to have to move these out of the way. Just going to grab at that, and I'm going to move that out of the way. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Dal. What was that last one? Okay, sorry. I think technically Matt's doing all the technical work in the background, so he's probably telling me stuff I'm doing. I might be in the way. Am I in the way of that? Oh, sorry. Was that what it was? Okay. It's hard to hear sometimes when you've got someone producing. It's really good what he does. And I'm sorry, guys, if I was in the way of that. I couldn't quite see. All right, so yes, you can work any way you want. It does make it tricky, these kind of dishes. It makes a mess, but it is beautiful. It's worth the time, worth the energy, but expect to, there is a lot of cleanup involved, but it will be worth it. Your family will love it. And that needs to be cleaned and, Okay, so I'm just going to put the made gnocchi in that, and I need to wipe that out and dry that. Why are you shutting it down? I'm drying out a dish. I've just got to dry it down. All right, so I'm just going to dry down this dish here. And that is better. That was just a little bit wet, been rinsed out. So I'm going to pop those in, and then going to get ready to boil. So I've got my water boiling with olive oil and a bit of salt. And now I'm doing the rest of my gnocchi. All right, so cutting up. And then we're going to continue rolling. So you can use a gnocchi board if you want to. You can make it all really pretty with your little like indents in it, and you can fold it over. I'm literally just cutting it into little links here. I'm not worrying about all that. It's going to taste just as good. It's going to have all the flavour. I'm not getting too stressed about all that. The gnocchi will be fine. Okay, cut. And all that flour on top will help to coat it and stop it sticking together. And you'll get that lovely soft gnocchi. And the trick of gnocchi is that you want it to be able to float to the surface of your food, of your water, so that you can scoop it out, nice fluffy little pillows, and then you can use them to fry up later. Okay, so we're into our next roll now. So we've done one roll, and we're on to number 2. And so we're just working both hands with the flour to keep it nice and firm. And we're just rolling that into like a nice sausage shape. It's going to be really, really, really good. It's going to taste really good. It'll be really, really nice. Okay. So you don't have to be really even or perfect with it. The whole point of rustic cooking is that you've got flavour through your food. It's all about the taste. And no gnocchi is shaped the same. Hi Andrew, how you going? I'm back cooking again. Hi Mars, how are ya? Yep, so just doing some gnocchi tonight. What are you guys having for tea? Sunday night's always a bit of a big one in our house. We like to do a bit of cooking. Yeah, we've had a spa. It's been really nice. And now we're just having a bit of cooking and chilling out. All right, so next one. So we've done 2 links so far. So obviously when you're making smaller batches, you don't need as much as what I'm cooking here. I'm doing a little bit less. But, I mean, I'm doing more. You'd be doing less. Big families, we do lots. My kids love gnocchi. Absolutely love it. They'll smash it. They'll eat so much of it. Okay. Now that noise in the background is my water boiling. I've got my big pot of water ready for that gnocchi to go. Okay, that one was a bit big for our breadboard. It's hard sometimes when you're rolling gnocchi to see how much you're going to have. Okay. And it is a dish where you go, I really, really feel like I want to make gnocchi tonight because there is a bit of cleanup involved, but the flour rinses off pretty easily. It's not too bad. Okay, cutting them into their links. It's a bit monotonous watching this process. Sorry, everyone. All right, when we boil them, that's more interesting because you'll see them all rising to the surface. Oh, sorry, what can't you see? Oh, okay. I might be able to tilt it though and show people. They are so soft, these little pillows of potato and flour and yum. And for us, gluten-free, it makes it a little bit more tricky. If you're doing this with normal wheat flour or double O flour, you'll probably be fine. It won't even, you won't have to be as delicate as what I have to be. Oh, well, you'll have to come down and have some, I think, Mars. What do you reckon? I'm sure it wasn't that bad. I'm sure you had a really nice dinner. All right. So this is obviously something I don't make every day, gnocchi, but it's something we do have every few months. I'll whip up one. The kids do like it. It's one of their favourite dinners. And it's, well, that boil has come up with that water. And I'm going to start tipping my gnocchis in soon. All right, little pillows of goodness, and we've got, after this one, we've got one more to go. So I've got this one went a little bit crazy, and I'm just trying to bring it back. If I don't get it back, I'm just going to let that one go. Got plenty of dough here. That's better. Okay. And the butter and the sage will crisp it up really beautifully. It'll be really, really nice. Okay. So we're working quickly because when they've been sitting for a minute, they'll start to dry. And this is my last one and it's getting a little dry, guys. So I'm working the dough again, okay? So I'm going to moisten that dough a bit with my hands. And you'll see it come together. And we've got one more to go, so it shouldn't be too bad. All right. We're going to roll it up. Good. Hey, I'll have to find my way to your tummy. I reckon that's... Yeah, Mars, you'll have to come down and have a feed. I love it. We would love that. I know we're due to come up. I know that, but... time and hecticness, and where has the time gone? It's It's already July. It's gone too quickly. Okay. And there we go. Okay. Now, last little one. It's a bit of a process, but it's worth it. So yum. Okay. So I remember gnocchi was always such a restaurant food, and we rarely ever had it, so it was very, very exciting to have something like gnocchi. So I love being able to create those kind of meals that I thought you could only get in those settings, and it's so exciting learning how to do these. My first few attempts at gnocchi were never as good as what they are now. It took a lot of practice to get this recipe right, especially gluten-free. I think that was a big game changer, learning how to cook things gluten-free. I'm just cleaning up a little bit while I get ready to boil my gnocchi. It's a lot of flour there, so it won't be long. I'm just tidying up a bit of my mess. That needs more. Okay. Yeah, so gnocchi is one of those dishes that it makes it feel so fancy, but it's actually so simple. It's like a combination of like a pasta and a mashed potato, but, you know, little pillows of softness. And the ragu is looking really good, and I will show you that in 1 second. Just got to tidy up. I had kids in the kitchen before. Kids in the kitchen before making a mess, so I'm dealing with all that now. So they came in and made a lot of snacks, and they've kind of destroyed my kitchen, so it's made it a bit trickier than normal. And they're not the best at cleaning up their mess. What? Can I just get this wiped off? My hands are still a bit messy from my gnocchi. Just give me a second, guys, I'm coming. I know. All right, I'll wash my hands off. I just got lots of gnocchi dough in there. I'm coming. I'm coming. I've got Matt telling me to show you the ragu. I'm coming. It's there. It's right there. All right, just hang on. Okay, there's the ragu. Look at that. That's been cooking all day in slow cook. So if you've watched the video where I made the ragu, you'll see the recipe. Can they see the ragu? All right. In a second. I'm clearly doing 6 things. So in a second, guys. I know you're not asking. I know it's Matt, but I'll show you in a minute. He's more demanding than everybody else. Okay. Just clearing some space, honey, so I can get these gnocchis done, because I'm going to need bowls out to serve. Yep. So the ragu has the natural oils on top from the meat and all the veggies. And so it's got a beautiful tomatoey base. It's going to be very rich to go with that gnocchi. The gnocchi will soften the richness just a little. And it'll make it really, really, really good. I've also got a yogurt brewing in here too. We like our fresh yogurt. It's always very, very good. All right. So now that I've done that, I'm going to pop the gnocchis. I need my gnocchi plate. And I'm going to start plonking my gnocchis into the boiling water. So I do half at a time, because the gnocchis will cook. I need to close that. And I'm going to scoop them up when they float to the surface. So this is what they look like. I'm going to tilt the water. Can you? And that's what they look like in there. They sink to the bottom at the moment, and when they're ready to come up, when they boil to the surface, they will come up to the top, and that's the sign of a good gnocchi. So it's always a bit nerve-wracking putting them in the boiling water. So you want to make sure you've got floating gnocchi. And so I'm hoping that that's the case. It's because it's gluten-free, it's always a bit testy. but I've had a couple in my time where they haven't quite risen properly, but oh, they're floating, guys. We have floating gnocchi. This is exciting. I'm about to show you. I am a bit, my daughter would say I'm OCD because I've got mouse over here. But keeping your kitchen tidy is very important. Otherwise you can't concentrate or cook. All right. So here, my gnocchi is floating to the top. Can you see that? That's exciting. All right, so the floating gnocchi are going to be scooped up just from the top. I've got my little scooper and I'm going to start scooping the floating gnocchi. And you'll see them come up to the surface and they look so good. And they come up quickly. You don't need long to cook your gnocchi. And we're doing a double cook, so we're doing a fry as well. But this takes care of draining them and cooking them as well. And they feel nice and firm but soft at the same time. Look, they're holding together. I'm very, very excited about that. I always get excited when my gnocchi works. Matt's used to me and my gnocchi. What are you laughing at, Matt?
Andrew Young's says shit.
Oh, that's good. Are you replying? Yeah. Yes. What do I say? Blame the kids. Yes. Always blame the kids. Definitely. But when we go and do things, the kids come in the kitchen and they take over and it's great that they make food and stuff, but the trouble is they don't tidy up when they're done. All right, so I'm going to just put this fry pan on now. I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to pull this range hood out, so we might have a bit of noise, but you'll be able to hear me hopefully. Because we're going to be getting that butter nice and hot, because we're doing a bit of a burnt butter and sage for our gnocchi. That's this one here, and we don't want it to smoke the house out. Okay, our second batch of gnocchi is starting to float very slowly. I'm just going to let it do its thing, and then we're going to jump on to the sage and the butter. And so burnt butter sage gnocchi is a beautiful earthy flavour, and it gives the gnocchi a bit of crispiness to it. Very, very yummy. So I love cooking this way because it gives us lots of flavour. I'm just trying to find a scoop. All right. Oh, here we go. So I've got quite a lot of grass-fed butter in there and some sage leaves. And so these sage leaves are from my garden, and they're infusing that beautiful flavour of the butter. All right, that gnocchi is looking good. Starting to rise to the surface. And I'm going to start adding some of that to the fry pan. And that will be such a delicious side dish for our ragu. If you've made gnocchi before, do you have any tips and tricks? Because that's always interesting in learning from others when it comes to cooking. Okay. Alright, so we don't want to overcrowd the pan, but we want to make sure that those gnocchi are sitting there nice and evenly with that butter and that sage. So they will have a bit of a greeny tinge to them from the sage. It's really, really green. It's beautiful, the flavour of it. And it's just going to colour that gnocchi lightly for us to eat. We zoom into that, we'll be able to see it even more. Be able to see it sizzling away. That's better. Thank you, Matt. That's good. People want to see the gnocchi. They don't want to see me. All right, you're doing a great job, honey. Thank you. Puss, have you had your dinner? Right. We need a child to do the dinner for Puss. My cat's demanding his dinner. He's very hungry. So we're getting some nice colour on that gnocchi now. It's just starting to crisp up. It takes a little bit of time, but if you see that, it's just starting to get that lovely golden colour on it. And it smells beautiful as it's cooking. So I add a little bit of salt to that, but I don't over salt it because I've already put a bit of salt in my water as well. And I put a little bit of olive oil in that water to help them to separate while they're cooking. Sorry, sweetie. Thanks, Andrew. Yes, Matt works very hard. He does such a good job. He really does. We wouldn't be able to do all this production without him, so very grateful. It's a really good setup actually. We worked really hard on this. It's actually a lot of fun doing this. We've enjoyed it. Matt's the technical person behind all of this. We work together, but yeah, he's the mind behind all of this production. He's done a great job. All right. You can see the leaves of the sage turning a bit brown. That gives it more of that more earthy flavour through the gnocchi. And it's just going to give the gnocchi a bit of character. So you can eat your gnocchi just like this. You can have gnocchi that's just boiled. It's completely fine to eat it this way. But we like to take it that extra step. All right, so I'm just going to start pulling that out of the fry pan and do it in batches. I want to leave the sage in there if I can for the next batch. It wants to come out with me, but it's going back in. It's wrapping itself around my gnocchi. But the gnocchi looks absolutely beautiful. Come out with lots of texture. Yum, yum, yum. And they're very filling, so each plate, you know, you get about a handful of them and it fills you up because it's got all that potato and flour in there. So it's a really good way to feel like you've had a rich, nice dinner on a winter's night. It's quite cold here in Victoria at the moment. We've had some chilly days. I think today wasn't too bad. We had a bit of sun, which was nice. But the last few days have been bloody freezing. All right. Add some more gnocchi in there. Coming in. Right, so now that we're going with the gnocchi, it's going to get a little bit faster. I'll add a little bit more of that butter taste in there. And so that's mixing up beautifully. That's why we have the range hood on, because it gives it a lot of taste, a lot of smoke, but a lot of taste, so it's worth it. But it's colouring up a lot quicker now that we've got the pan nice and hot. Okay. Cooking away, enjoying that. A bit more butter will go in the pan and we'll add that in to keep that lubricated and cooking. Because you want that gnocchi to have that coating all over it. Hey, darling. the ragu, show that again. I haven't mixed it up, did I? Sorry, I didn't mix up the ragu, but this is, when we mix it, that's the ragu that we made earlier. So that is so beautiful. All right, that gnocchi is looking good. Jumping in there. And we'll have another batch to go through. And this is all gluten-free, guys. And this feed, to do this, is a tricky thing because you want your gnocchi to separate just like you would if you had really fine gluten flour. Gluten is the glue that holds everything together, but it's also the protein that produces, in celiac people like myself, produces anti-gliadin IgA, and you don't want that when you have those reactions. So I've been known that I'm celiac for over 11 years and have eaten gluten-free since then. And I'm very grateful to have that knowledge. My gut health is so good now. Okay. 2 of my children can't eat gluten as well. Very genetic, these things. But we can still eat beautiful Italian food. One day we'll show you how we make, Matt's the pasta man in our house, and we have a Philips pasta maker, and he makes gluten-free pasta from scratch, and it's absolutely divine. And he will do that one day, won't you? Because it'll be very interesting for people. We're still building, we're still working on setting everything up. It's been a very good couple of years. It's been, 18 months of building? It's great. This is something, an extension of who we are. So you can see all those beautiful batches of gnocchi come together, but the flavours when you do it this way are so beautiful. And that colour, see the colour coming off those little pillows are just absolutely golden. And it gives it that lovely crunch on the outside. And the children just go nuts for these. There'll be none of this left. The kids will smash all of this tonight. They'll go back and have seconds. We don't mind. It's good quality food. And the good thing about gnocchi is it's really affordable too. It's one of those really kind of cheap dinners that you can whip up. Takes a bit of time, but yeah. And we had a Sunday afternoon. We had a nice spa and chilled out. The ragu was cooking away. And then we came in and just whipped up this gnocchi, and dinner's nearly ready. So we usually eat about 7:30 in our house. It's quite normal. I usually finish work around 7:30, 8 o'clock, so we don't eat until a little bit later than most households, but that's because of our schedules. Okay, so I'm just going to let that stay in that hot pan, and I'm going to serve up a bowl to show you typically how it will look as a final plating. So I've got my bowl here, and I'm going to serve up one of my kids. My eldest is waiting patiently for his dinner. It's one of his favourite meals. And so I'll serve it up here. So I have the gnocchi on the side here with some of that beautiful sage in there. And he's 18 and he loves his dinners, and he will have quite a large serving. And then I will give him a nice big scoop of ragu. And I want that sauce in the bottom of the bowl so that he can have that soaking up his gnocchi. Big piece of beef on top. And then I will add a little bit of cheese, just some tasty cheese. You can add parmesan if you want to Just sprinkle on top, just a small little handful. You don't have to overdo the cheese. And then always with my Italian, I like to add a little bit of pepper. And that is our beef ragu with sage burnt butter gnocchi for dinner tonight. How beautiful does that look? Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. It's been really fun showing you how we do this on our Sunday night. Happy Sunday, and I'll see you next time. Yep.